Okay, he's joining soon. Oh,
Hola.
I should have changed my Wi-Fi.
Hola.
Hey, how
Hi.
you doing?
Hello,
I should
I'm
have
fine.
changed my.
Wait,
I
I'm
hope.
trying.
Are you trying to have a good connection?
No, to find a place where there is no like light behind me.
I should have changed my Wi-Fi. I hope that my Wi-Fi is not gonna die in the
That's
middle.
better. Okay, do you hear me well?
How you doing?
Okay, good. I'm doing okay.
Are you ready?
Happy to be there. Yeah,
Are you nervous?
a little bit, but I'm gonna try to answer as best as I can.
Okay, guys. So we're talking today with Greg Scherf. He's from France and he's a third-year resident. So do you want to introduce yourself like we do every single week with the new students? A little bit, what is your background? And then I will start with some questions. And then obviously, if anyone wants to ask any question, you just need to type them or ask them and I will ask you.
Okay. So yeah, thank you, Anne. So my name is Greg. I'm French. I come from Paris. So basically, I did my veterinary education in Paris at the École of Maison Alfort. It's a 5-year program that I completed there. For the last year, I felt like I wanted to see something else. I wanted to go abroad and like see different things. So I applied to an internship program in Quebec, which I did after my 5 years of school in Maison Alfort. I had my thesis in Alfort. I've completed the 5 years, got my vet diploma, and then I managed to obtain this internship in Quebec. So where I spent a year there. And then after that, after the internship, I basically tried to have a little bit more experience in neurology before doing a residency. So I completed a specialty internship combined with some emergency clinician work at the same university for another year. So 1 year internship, then 1 year of like specialty internship combined with emergency clinician work. And then during that year, I applied through the match for a residency program that I got at Tufts University, where I'm now completing my residency and I'm starting my 3rd year. So that's about it. I've spent overall 4 years now abroad in North America, 2 years in Quebec and 2 years now at Tufts University near Boston. So that's where I am.
The internship in Quebec was in French?
Yeah, so the internship in Quebec was in French. That was an important, when I was completing my 5 years of vet school in Maison Alfort, I was really looking to have an experience abroad, something else, something different. And the partnership that were available were the one in Quebec. Yeah, it was a partnership that was available with Quebec and also one with Australia, but I was attracted to the one in Quebec because it was in French. So it was kind of like a good middle, being having an experience abroad, having a connection with North America, but still having a foot, with French culture, the French language, and yeah, so that was attractive to me, to kind of like having this North American experience still with a foot in France.
So there is already a question about the specialty intern, but let me just ask you a little bit more, because I know that a lot of people, because for not only European, for other people, it is difficult to get a residency, go through the matching program in the States. So you had the option between Australia and Quebec, but what was also important from Canada is that was allowing you then to get a little bit easier into the United States. So what did you need to do to get into Quebec? Did you need to get any visa? How did how someone from France could go to the university in Quebec? And once you have the University of Quebec, it's much easier to get through a matching program in the States. Could any other people from Europe, or you think other countries, could get into Canada easier than the States?
So I definitely, I probably don't know all the answers for those questions, but to what concerned me is that there was only two partnerships that were like offered by my school at Maison Alfort. There was either this one in Australia, as I said, and this one in Quebec. I know that the University of Quebec, so you have to find a university that is gonna recognize your diploma to allow you to work there. And Quebec recognized, like the University of Montreal recognized the diploma that I had from France, and they recognize it from all vet school in France. So there are 4 vet schools in France. So any students coming from Toulouse, Nantes, Paris, or Lyon, they could do that exchange. And there are multiple programs that were available. You could do a student exchange. So during your final year, did your final 6 months with Quebec and then go back to France. But there was also the program with the internship. And so that was basically really the 2 options that I had. There are probably several ones, like I don't know if things that were possible, but for Quebec, the main thing was that they recognized the veterinarian diploma that I had. And I know that it's a huge door for us because our diploma is not recognized very often. Like for private practice, for instance, it's not recognized at all. So there was absolutely no way for me to go do an internship in a private practice in Canada or even in the US. So there was a huge opportunity to have this university that said, look, with your diploma, you don't need to pass any equivalences. You don't need to pass the NAVLE or anything like that. You can just come. And of course, what you need is a visa. So that was kind of like the only condition is to have a visa that was not related to the vet diploma at all, but to have a visa to then being able to work in the university.
Because they need to pay the visa.
So yeah, and the visa is pretty expensive. So they help you to pay the visa, and they help you also with all the things that you need to do to get the visa. Like, once you are accepted in the program, then it's like administrative work, but they help you with that.
It's important that we say that there are some universities that they will pay you a visa, like for example, Montreal, and there are some universities also in the States that they will pay you a visa. So if they pay you a visa, then you have the same chance as anyone else. A lot of universities like Tufts, for example, they don't pay a intern a visa. They pay a resident a visa, but not an intern. So that's where we get in trouble. Okay, so let's go through some more questions, and then we will go through some of the special tweaks between. So what the first person was asking, why a specialty internship after your general internship before the residency?
So it's I think that there are two reasons to do a specialty internship. I didn't do a very proper one. I had a contract that gave me half formation in neuro, half formation in emergency in the same university. I stayed in the Montreal University to do that. But for me, one reason would be to build up your CV and make it stronger in face of other candidates. So because you can apply to the match for a residency after your internship, and some will have a residency right away, but it's getting harder and harder, and the competition is getting harder, and having a CV where you add more and more experiences makes you a stronger candidate. So that's the first reason. The second reason is also because I believe residency is difficult, and residency, especially, you have a lot of clinic time, and you have, it depends on where you're doing. Sorry, did you hear me?
Yeah. It just
so residency is difficult, and depending on where you're doing the residency, and sorry, someone is calling me at the same time. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah,
they
that's
don't know
why.
that you're famous.
Yeah. So depending on where you're doing the residency, the caseload, the workload, it might be the clinic time. If it's an additional difficulty for you, it makes it even harder. So doing a specialty internship gives you the opportunity to have an additional year to see cases and, be more confident than when you start your residency and have a bit less stress on the clinic field, I would say.
Yeah.
So those would be the two reasons why I think a specialty internship. One, because it makes you a stronger candidate, and two, because it's already like giving you a lot of experience in neurology, which will be useful then during your clinic time, during your residency.
Yeah.
And
I have to add also that, again, if you're not American and you're doing a residency in a university, well, it's the only place where you can really do a residency in a university if you're not American. So then you don't have all the residencies available. You could be maybe do a residency in a private practice in America from your general internship, because they tend to be graded a little bit lower. But usually the residencies in university are a little bit more competitive. And if you are European or non-American, you need to do it in a university. You don't have the choice. So if you want to have a residency in university, I can, at the moment, there's no way you're going to get it without a specialty internship. The competition, as you said, is too high.
And I think it's getting worse, like harder and harder every year also.
Yeah, exactly. So the second question was, have you feel a little bit kind of mistreated because of your accent when you were doing your residency?
By who? By owners or by colleagues?
I guess
so. No, I've never been like mistreated or felt inferior by colleagues. Never. Like I felt, of course, that that there is like a minimal level that you need to fulfill to be able to be accepted in a residency. And by the way, it's in the applications of many university, you have to prove that you have a certain level of competency in English by, passing the TOEFL exam or the IELTS. Like you have to have a certain grade. Yeah, I've been like it depends on the university, I guess, but Tufts is a university that is used to have foreigners, used to have like people from Europe or like elsewhere that are not like as comfortable in English as Americans. So I felt pretty protected on that side. I have had experiences with owners, especially owners that
on the phone,
impatient, and sometimes it's really honestly rare, but I remember experiences with owners where they can be a bit rough on the phone, especially on the phone, as you said, but it's really like a tiny percentage of the interactions that you have with owners, honestly. So I wouldn't say it's a stopping, like it wouldn't stop me at all of doing a residency in the US.
Yeah, no, and I agree. I don't think that people are patient, are used to, and then owners, they can get maybe, but the same owners that they will get a little bit stressed with your accent, they may get stressed with your age, or may get stressed because they pay too much money. So they're going to find something to get stressed about.
And it's very particular situations. Like the one that I had, it was like very particular owners, or once again, very particular situations where like from one day to the other, the animal is a very critical state, and like it's a huge news for the whole family. Like it's very particular.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question was, which I think that this is a difficult one, and I'm maybe it's a little more for me than for you, because you haven't really selected candidates through the matching. So there is a question about what is the most important for the matching. And
visiting.
Yes. The matching is a very complicated system, and I have to say, so different people are going to be looking for different things. So it's true that when you get more experience getting residence, also you want a resident that is going to be able to sit and pass the exam. So I have never been too obsessed about grades, but I see the point when other, like for example, the other neurologist, Dr. Faisal, that we work with, he is really looking into the grades, because for him it's important to know that the person that is going to have the residency is going to be able to pass the exam. And that's a very good point, because you want a resident that is going to be able to finish to pass the exam. so you want a good exam taker, which some people are going to be looking at that. Other people, they don't care about the grades. And it's, as you said, visiting, if you have publications, but I don't think that we can put what is the most important thing for the matching.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I haven't selected any candidates, but I have the impression that like being able, like you're also choosing good references, good reference letters, I think is absolutely essential to make sure that the people that you're choosing to reference you are people that are going to be very positive about you and that are going to be able to send very good letters for you and that requires that those people know you very well. They worked with you, they saw you in different environments, they saw you dealing with different situations, so they are able to defend
a personal letter.
Yeah, exactly, a personal letter. And I believe visiting is also very important, just not only for the people that are going to select you, but also for you to be able to see where you're going to potentially spend, once again, 3 years that are going to be challenging. So making sure that, you know, you like the place, that you can see the different people there. If it's a work environment where you might feel comfortable. Of course, it's hard to know all the answers of those questions in one day of visiting, but it's better than nothing. So it's visiting good for them to know you, and also for you to see if you think you're gonna be a good fit for this particular.
I think I agree that it's true that the reference letters is very, very important. And you're not going to know what they're going to write about you, so you better select one. Okay, so then there is two questions that they are a little bit related. So they are the same, but it's a little bit of different timing, which I think that the answer will be slightly different. So one question was, what was the hardest thing of the residency? But then Guido was asking, what was the hardest thing when you start? And I think that that's a very good, they are good questions because they are different. What was the most difficult? Because I know that the Guido is looking to move away and then start like all the process of residency and internship. So what did you find kind of the most difficult part there before starting the residency to get there? And then what are you finding hard during your residency?
Okay. So what did I find hard when I started? I would say things went pretty fast when I started. It's like when you start right away, like I didn't really have time to think of what was hard or what was easy, because like you're moving in a different country, you have to, you know, be on clinics, and then you also have to deal with like finding your place, finding a car, dealing with the final like administrative stuff. So, like there is a lot on your mind, and it was sometimes a bit hard to like kind of like take care of everything at the same time. But I was really like one thing after another.
What was the difficult more like before you started? What was the difficult of the decision of like moving? Like was it like moving, like taking the decision about like leaving Paris, I guess, and then.
Yeah, but that's like, I would say that's the whole decision, like that's the whole difficulties of the residency in general. I would say, to my point of view, I felt like that doing the residency, it's a choice. It's a real commitment. It's a real commitment that, you know, demanded some sacrifices. That it's a choice of making professional life in front of everything, to my point of view, for 3 years, and having to be ready to make internship, a specialty internship, and all those things.
You still also are very tied to clinics, and you need to work very hard.
Yeah, and so that's definitely making the choice of putting the professional life. So you have to be sure of that, putting the professional life in front of your social and personal life. And it's a commitment for 5 years where, yes, you have good things, like you are making that commitment because you love that specialty, and so you're going to be trained, you're going to learn, you're going to see nice things, and it's building your future. But it's that in front of everything for a good amount of time. It's not 6 months. It's 5 years, as you said. So it's a marathon, I would say. But you can see the end at the end. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel at some point too. So.
And what do you find most difficult during the residency? Now that you are really have gone through the equator.
Mm-hmm. So for me, the most difficult is kind of like joining what we just said, is the difficulties of finding a balance between the professional life that takes a lot of time and energy right now and the rest. And the rest can sometimes get very slim, like the social life, sentimental life, personal life, all that can get very slim, and it's sometimes difficult to find a balance that keeps you, on track. So I think that was the most difficult part for me, is to find a good balance between work, which takes 80% of my time and energy, and 20% of the rest, and being okay with that. But that's something that you need to be ready for before doing a residency. And it's not forever, it's not all your life. And once again, yes, you have this unbalanced thing that makes things more complicated, but you have to see the bright side where you are investing for the rest of your life. So it's an investment. Yeah,
because you haven't seen your family since Christmas, and probably you're not going to see them for still a little bit. So and
it's and of course, like, I think that for any American, that's like the residency per se is tough for this balance issue that we just discussed, but especially for you coming abroad, you are far away from family, far away from very close friends. So yes, you make friends here, obviously, but far away from your culture, like all of that needs adjustments. And yes, for 6 months, you can adjust yourself and you can live with that. But for 5 years, that's a different story. Like, it can feel long at the end of the marathon.
Okay, so there was a question about, I think that someone was kind of asking about when they are applying for an internship, if they need to travel to the US to visit. So, I mean, there is a lot of people, as Greg said, you cannot be traveling to every single place that you're going to apply. For the residency, it's a little bit different, but it's true that ultimately, if you want to do a residency or an internship in the States or any country, and you've never been into the country, it is not going to be that easy. So you need to show that you are comfortable traveling and you have been in that country, even if it's in another place. But yeah, ideally, I don't know if for the internship, maybe not that much, but for the residency, I think that, like Greg said, it's very important that you go and visit.
And I think it's also, why is that also so important, is because those university that are taking you as a resident, they are also choosing someone for 3 years. So that's also a choice that they take very seriously. And I think they are always going to prefer seeing someone, meeting someone, and that's going to reassure their choice rather than just having someone on paper. Yeah. So it's always like making your file stronger if they can meet you in person and have a stronger feeling about, strongest feeling about your application.
Yeah, I completely agree. Okay, so then question about, so what would you say to someone that is still in vet school and they asking you why doing a residency? They're still in university. Do they need to think about doing a residency? Why would you?
I think that I would always first recommend to do an internship. So that's, I think, is very important. No matter if you want to specialize or not, I think doing an internship is a very valuable mistakes, but still have people. Sorry. So internship, I would say that any people, even if they want to go in general practice during their vet life, to consider one, I think is a good thing. Doing a residency, as we just said, is a commitment for, is a commitment of over 5 years. I mean, it's the wish of becoming a specialist, and like you have to feel attracted, to my point of view, to be able to fully go over this program. You have to feel attracted by the specialty itself, and ask yourself after the residency, is it something I truly want to do for like the rest, or at least a good amount of time in my life? Because it's a real investment. So if you're just doing it and then potentially dropping it and go in general practice, so I don't think doing a residency is indicated. Doing an internship, yes, because I believe that's going to make you a better vet. But the residency program, it's really like if you feel that this given specialty is going to make you happy for like the rest of your life, or a good amount of time in your life,
I think that this is a little bit kind of the question that you need to ask yourself also before you start university. So when you finish college and you think, what path do you want to follow in your life? And then you kind of want to, and it can be difficult to know what you want to do. And kind of you need to imagine yourself, how will I see my ideal job? What would I like to be doing as an ideal job? And if, as you said, your ideal job will be to having to be a first opinion vet, because the type of medicine that you want to do is just having knowing all your clients and seeing different diseases and different species, then I will agree that you don't want to do a residency. But if you're seeing yourself working in a specialty hospital, working in a big team, doing a very specific job. In my case, for example, I feel that I didn't know anything when I finished vet school, and I wanted to know something, at least one thing good, and feeling that I had certain control over one thing. So you need to project yourself when you finish vet school. What type of job you would like to be doing? But I think that it is super important what you said, Greg, that at least do a general internship, because that is going to be useful no matter what. And then if you change your mind and you do 1 year of general practice or emergency, whatever, and then you decide you want to do in a specialty, then you have your general internship, which is a little bit easier when you are a little bit younger to do that type of steps. And then later on, you can always go back to do your specialty, to choose. Finding what is the specialty you like also can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah. And that's also the internship can help with that. Like when you are going in vet school, you do your 5 years, you only have like some clinic time during your final year. It can be hard to really like say, whoa, I've already developed an attraction to this specialty. But if you add a general internship above that, then it gives you a bit more time to say, whoa, I really like surgery, and now I know, I want to do like a residency, or I really like radiology. Like the last 2 weeks were really fun, and I think it's really something I want to spend my more time on and stuff. So that's the general internship can also help you with figuring out if you developed a specific thing for a specialty.
Yeah, look, there was just Tiago that has just joined, who's going to be, I need to introduce you. He's going to, did you met him when he was visiting, Tiago, the new resident of radiology from Brazil? I don't know if you...
I'm not sure. I'm trying to see his picture, but I don't think so.
I know that for sure. I don't remember. Anyway, well, you will meet him. Okay, let's continue with the questions. So question, after residency, what would you like to do? Private, academia?
And that it's still in thinking process, so I don't have a definitive answer. But I think that after being 5 years in a university, I want to like kind of fly with my own wing right now, and I want to go a little bit in private practice to kind of like have my own cases, do a little bit my own medicine, try different things, probably do mistakes, my own and learn from them. So I'm more leaning towards private practice for now, but I believe I like so much teaching. That's kind of like the best thing that, like the thing that I prefer in university, that I probably at some point going to go back. I don't know if it's going to be soon, like in a couple of years, or if it's going to be a little bit more than that.
Greg is going to be in university, 100% sure. I can put money on it.
Oh, okay. but for now, I'm more leaning towards like at least having a couple years in private practice to kind of like do a little bit my own neurology medicine and see how I'm doing with that. The big question is, do I go back to Europe? If I go back to Europe, do I go back to France, or do I consider maybe something in England, or do I want to stay in North America? There are like pros and cons on both sides. You know, as we said, finding a balance between the work life and social personal life is difficult, and I miss it quite a bit here. So going back to France allows me to, you know, go back with my family, go back with friends, and
there
that's
is some
really,
French
really attractive.
listening, so everyone is going to be like, Rodolfo
So,
is also saying France, although he's not in France anymore, but.
So yeah, like on the life perspective, I feel more attracted about going back to France. However, I know, you know, like when it's been 5 years that you're in North America and that you have had the chance to work like with advanced technologies, with excellent technicians also that make your doctor life like 100% easier, when you have the chance to work in such excellence environments. I know that in France, like we are maybe a little bit late on that, like a little bit behind on that side, at least in private practice. Like it's not as developed as the
It's more
specialty
the
in private
money,
practice.
Greg. It's the problem
Or
is
the
that
owners?
how much, the technologies are there. They're exactly the
owners.
same. You can do exactly the same. The problem is how much do the owners want to pay? And this is why the States and England is a little bit more advanced, because in England they have this insurance and they love their pets, and in the States too. In other places, in France, I'm sure that, I mean, it's just a little bit more like spending all that money for a dog or a cat, still, but it will get there. But the technology is there. But as you said, working for you, you cannot pay for all that, and that's a very, very good point. Yeah.
So, and also like being in the US, you're already in the system. Like, you know, like it's been a while that I'm here. I know how it works. I know, you know, it's easier like to have applications, to go visit. Like, I don't know, it's also easier to stay when you're already in it, you know, rather than coming back and realize that, okay, yeah, maybe the social life is better, but I prefer the professional life that I had in the States and I want to come back. Maybe it's going to be a little bit harder. I don't know.
Yeah,
so,
I find that they ultimately, like, the more you stay on that kind of a good level of environment at work, more difficult is to go back to like a little bit of a lower level type of thing. I find that people, they stay more time abroad, it is a little bit more difficult to come back. But I mean, it's a lot of people, they have done it both ways. They go straight away, or they stay a little bit longer. You get a little bit more experience, so you feel a little bit more comfortable not being able to do a full body MRI through Tesla in every single dog, you know.
Yeah, no, it's convenient.
Yeah. Okay, so Guido was asking about, so if so kind of two questions. If you were going to do everything again, not precisely, I mean neurology, would you still do the internship and residency? Would you still follow this? Would you still choose to do this path after what you've experienced? Or would you say, I would just do an internship? And that's a tricky question, Guido. He's my resident. Cannot ask him.
Yeah, like it's biased. But no, I still think I would go like towards that direction, and like definitely doing an internship for sure, definitely doing the internship in Quebec, and then after that doing this additional year of specialty internship and emergency clinician that I believe like taught me a lot, like personally and professionally. The residency, I would do it again. Would I say like 100% it has to be Tufts? That's like, I wouldn't be like, I would be open also to, like, I don't think like if I would do the residency again, but it wouldn't have to be like at Tufts. Like I could do a residency if, you know, depending on who would agree to have me. But I would like
in another country.
I would be okay to do the residency in another university in the States, if you know, or in Canada, or potentially also doing a residency in France or in another country, as you just said. But I felt so strongly attracted to neuro, and I still feel so strongly attracted to this specialty that I believe it's something that I can be happy with for a very good amount of time in my life, that it's worth it to go through a residency. But I would be okay doing it elsewhere.
Yeah, I think that is also a little bit of a difficult question for you, because you haven't finished the residency yet. So you haven't seen the results of the effort that you have put in. I can answer that I will definitely 100% do it again, because the amount of choices that I had, because I've done a residency and a residency in another country, is just like, yeah, I mean, definitely. Okay, and he was asking you, yeah, and this is also a good question. So do you think that you had everything? So did you have everything planned, or did like you were just a little bit applying, and then this is the path that things follow through?
Yeah.
Or did you know exactly that you wanted?
For me, what happened is, as you just said, it's kind of like it was flowing. You know, year after year, things were getting, you know, clearer and clearer, more and more. Like at first, I liked medicine in general. Then I did my internship. Then during my internship, I realized that maybe I like neuro, but I'm not sure 100%. So I'm not going to apply for a residency yet. Then I did my specialty internship and realized, yes, I want to apply for a residency. Then through the match, you apply to different places and you end up in Tufts. But from the beginning, like it all started with me saying, I want to see a little bit how things are done abroad, and I want to do an internship abroad. But that's all. Like I wasn't saying like a specialty internship, and I was not saying a residency at Tufts at all. Like it happened like that to me year after year, basically. But I don't think it's wrong to have like big ideas from the beginning and kind of like build your path, you know, having at the end of the day, I want to be a resident in the US and like make your way slowly but surely. But concerning me is like it came year after year. First with the wish of doing an internship, then the wish of like discovering a little bit more neuro, then the wish of like getting in depth with what neuro. But yeah, it was a year after year process.
I always say that I think that and I don't want to dismiss American or British, because obviously they go through exactly the same residency that everyone goes through, and it's as difficult for them as it is for everyone else. But also American residents, they need to change the state, and sometimes the state is as far as for us traveling to Europe. I mean, going from Boston to California is as long as doing Boston, Paris. So they are also moving pretty far away from their families. But it's true that it is a little bit more difficult when you're not an American or a British to get a residency. You have the residency is fine. That is the hard, not the hard work, but that is the hardest thing, to get the residency, to get accepted in a residency program. Mm-hmm. And after that, it's up to you. Then it's just like your effort, your residency, you pass the exam, which probably for maybe British and Americans, the concept is a little bit different, where the difficult part of the residency is the residency and pass the exam, which I found for me and for a lot of colleagues, the difficult part was to get the residency, to get there. And then it's like, you don't care where, you just want to have the opportunity.
Yeah. I think especially in Europe, where there is no like matching program, and like things are much more, you have to find the information yourself. You have to, like, it's not like the matching. What is nice with the matching is that you do one file that you send basically to multiple places. Whereas I don't know for sure, that's more you, but in Europe, I have the impression that you have to really, really look for things and like do your own applications, but potentially multiple different ones. Like, I don't know, but
and a different timing, the different. The residents, they come up at different times during the year. So okay, so let's go to some more positive, because we've been talking about how hard it is. So what is the best part of the residency?
Well, I would say the best part of the residency, to my point of view, is being able to, especially here, being able to learn neuro and do neuro with like advanced, like in an environment of excellence, where there is a lot of means, where people are motivated, where you can actually see great cases, learn from your supervisor. Like, it's like the learning process is the best part for me. And once again, it's important, because that's kind of like the main thing of your residency is like your professional. Sorry, my battery is getting low. That's the main thing of the residency, is your professional life. So it has to be like, I believe that's also why it's hard also to select a residency program and make sure that you're going to fit there, because it's going to be so much time and so much energy that you have to feel comfortable with the place that you are, with the way that you're taught, with the way that you're learning, with the caseload and all those things, because it's going to be the most of your life, to my point of view. So that's the best part of the residency. What keeps me going is being able to day after day, week after week, feeling that I learn more and more, that I'm more and more comfortable with my specialty, and that I feel more and more connected with the specialty, and being able to learn it in such an environment where you have access to advanced technologies and people, once again, like, you can really dig through like difficult cases. That's the big plus of this residency, is to be able to see a wide variety of things and being able to learn from them.
Yeah.
In order to be as strong as possible and as comfortable as possible.
Yeah, which is gonna be a little bit always the question about university versus private practice, and it's a little bit what you said. Private practice, they tend to have a little bit of a higher caseload, which I would be surprised that they have a higher caseload than what we have at Tufts.
Yeah, I don't know for that.
But it's true that the universities, they are known to have a little bit more directed teaching with the residents, and supposed to have a little bit more downtime, which is not always possible in our residency. Particularly, there is not much downtime for the residents, and there is a lot of caseload. So there is a lot of experience that you acquire with a lot of caseload, but then it becomes pretty stressed and a lot of hard work to keep studying at home, and then keep updated about the exams, because we haven't talked about the exams, but maybe, I don't know if we're going to have time, because there is a lot of questions, but there is that, and that's a little bit what I was feeling when I was doing my residency, until I really passed the exam, that you just feel that you are living with a gray cloud on your head of like the exam. So it's like, you are a resident, you see amazing cases, you're very happy, you see cases, and then you're tired, you go home, and then you leave the hospital. Are you there? Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Can you? We have lost. Okay, for you.
My.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab my charger.
And then so you go home, you're super tired, but you have, as soon as you leave the hospital, you have the gray cloud, which is the exam, over you, reminding you that you need to study. So on the top of finishing your day that you're very tired, you need to study because you have an exam that you need to pass at the end of the residency. So that is, and I've said a few times, like, is, as you say, it's 5 years that you don't read the book, you don't read a magazine. Every time you are in a plane, every time that you are sitting in a garden, whatever, you are reading a paper. Just like that's what you do during 5 years, just reading papers of neurology. Yeah,
and as you said, it's, you don't have like all the time. You're not on clinic. It's busy with journal club, topic rounds, presentations to other people of the hospital, research, and studying for boards. Like, your downtime is busy with professional stuff from the residency, and you don't actually have a lot of like real downtime.
So another question was, so if you do the internship, is it easier to have the residency where you did the internship? Definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, the question was not really asked because the University of Montreal was not looking for a neurology resident. So like there was only like, I couldn't apply for a residency there. But I definitely believe that doing an internship and even doing a specialty internship gives you much more opportunity to then be accepted for a residency in the same place. Yeah.
And that is actually a good question. It's a good point about maybe you need to choose where you do if you can choose your internship a little bit, kind of trying to apply first for places where they're going to have a residency. So then you could do your internship and then your residency. So it's true that there is much more space for interns, for general internships. So if you have any possibility of choose a little bit where to do the general internship, then definitely you're going to have a stronger possibility of doing the residency there. The last question we've answered at the beginning, but if you did he just said that you did the internship already in Canada. So Greg did 2 internships in Canada, and then from there he went to the US. So, okay, so if you were going to have a resident yourself now, what would be the qualities that you would be looking on a resident?
So I'm becoming the boss now. If I had to have a resident, I think to me, it's so important to work in an environment where I get along with the people I work with, that I would find some, like, as much as possible, someone I get along with, someone I know the work environment is not going to be heavy, like we are going to get along and things are going to move smoothly. They're going to be like some laughing too. Like, it's not, I don't want like going to work and like having to think about like this person that I don't really get along with. So that's why also it's kind of joined what we said at the beginning, that visiting is very important for both sides, to kind of like have a better idea of like the character of the candidate and the personality of the candidate, to make sure that he might be a good fit with me and with the team. So I think that would be the biggest thing that I would look for, is someone that fits with the team, personality speaking, which sometimes it's hard to assess.
It is hard. And then I think a question that I know that a lot of people, particularly the students that they just finished, haven't finished, will you be that worried if the person is very strong on neurology or not? What would you think about, do you think that the clinical capabilities of someone will be a big priority for you?
I think it also depends on where you work. But if you work in an environment where there is a huge caseload, for instance, you want to be able to handle big caseloads, handle like difficult situations, emergency situations, things like that. So that's like, if you work in such an environment, that's something I would look for, like someone that is not scared of having a big workload and can manage those things quite easily. I don't think I would like prioritize 100% the one that has the best grades in neurology, for instance, or has the best capacities in neurology, because he's gonna, you know, like this person, as long as he has a good baseline, obviously, he's there to learn. He's there to learn like month after month, year after years, and he's gonna get there at some point. So I wouldn't say that you have to be the best at neurology to be a strong candidate. At least it would not be the biggest things I would look for. So it's more like someone I would get along with, and someone I know would be able to handle difficult situation and a big caseload without panicking, basically.
And what is, okay, so last question. What is the first thing that you absolutely not gonna miss from the residency?
That I'm not gonna miss from the residency. Oh my God, that's a tough one.
The 7 in the morning rounds?
I can't even say weekends, because I actually like weekends. When you're, you know, on call weekends. I know what I'm not gonna miss from the residency. Yeah, I know, and it's actually something that I'm kind of like looking for going in private practice. Is, as we said, you know, this like fake downtime that we have. Like, downtime is not really downtime, because during your downtime you need to prepare that, you need to prepare this, you need to read that, you need to read this. And
the cloud, the great cloud.
Yeah, and you feel bad if you're not doing it and all those things. So that feeling I'm not gonna miss at all.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's why I call that like great cloud. Like, I remember, because also in vet school, I mean, when you've done your exams, that's it, you have your summer. But I remember I was doing my residency and I was thinking, oh my God, I miss so much that weekends where you just like eat and then you just sit in front of the TV and you just like watching TV and or whatever, or just like you've gone out and you just resting and you don't care. You don't care if you waste 2 hours, 3 hours of your life like this. Yeah. Completely agree.
And being fine with not doing much.
Yes, yes, exactly. Exactly. Not feeling guilty. Not trying to find an excuse. Okay, yeah, no, I can allow not to do anything for 3 hours because I've done this or because I've done that. Like, just being able to enjoy. Well, thank you so much, Greg.
Pleasure. Thank you for putting that, you know, setting that up.
Yeah, no, thank you for letting us. How was your experience? Have a nice day. Today is amazing. It's super good, huh?
Yeah, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah,
exactly. Probably gonna do a little walk.
I'm gonna miss so much this weather. But
wow, I don't know. It's probably gonna be sunny too.